Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to maintain your Boston Fern. This is my big Boston Fern, and from time to time the plant gets really big and overgrown and I have to take out all of the old dying fronds and browning leaves. So there's no actually easy way to do this. You just have to start by shaking the plant. And what this does is it removes all of the loose brown individual leaves. And just shake. You don't really need to be scared about damaging any of the fronds. And so when you feel that you've shaken enough of the brown leaves off, you take a scissor and you start cutting out all of the older fronds that are dying, or there are parts of them that look like they are dying. And you really want to cut them off as close to the base as possible, because otherwise you end up having really unattractive brown spikes, coming out at the bottom of the plant. And also just be aware that you will have some casualties in this process where you might take off leaves of fronds that are healthy, but that's just like a part of the process. I've had this plant actually for a few years now, and it grows really well, but it's also in desperate need of a repot, because I can see how matted the pot is. And this plant actually started out as a normal hanging basket that I think I got from a no, the plant was a present, but it came originally from a hanging basket from a plant market. And then just think how this has grown. And I've always found that one of the big things with ferns in general, and with Boston ferns, is that they need to be kept moist. I think a lot of people underestimate the importance of moisture when it comes to fern care. I found that you can't really let them dry out. As soon as they dry out, they start to deteriorate at points. You'll see like leaves start to burn, to brown, actually, not burn. You'll see the plants start to droop, because ferns in general have no water storage capacity. So the plant doesn't have anywhere to really store any water for times of drought, which means that it's really important for them to be constantly moist, because any stress from being underwatered will automatically put the plant into a state of shock, and it will try to dump its leaves to conserve itself, really. And so for me, I've actually devised a watering routine that works really well with this plant. And that is that every morning I throw whatever water is left in my water glass from the previous evening into this plant. Sometimes, especially now in summer, I have to put in some more water because it does dry out rapidly. But as a general rule, giving the plant that water every day seems to make a difference. And the fronds that you also want to get are the ones that are, really at the bottom of the pot, because these will be the oldest ones. And then you also have these runners. And I think some people have actually asked me what these are for. And what these are actually for is for the plant to spread. So imagine if this plant was not growing, freely, this will spread over the soil, and new ferns will form at those points. It's one of the reasons why certain types of these Boston ferns are very invasive when they grow in the right type of climate. And there is actually a variety of this plant that is invasive in this country. It has very upright fronds. And if it grows somewhere where it can get a lot of moisture, it can really spread and form these big plates of clumps. And this is also a great time to check your plant for any pests or disease. Something that loves to be on ferns is brown scale. And I've often found them growing on my ferns. And when it comes to light, these ferns don't really like any direct sunlight. So what I often do is I'll put this plant behind a sheer curtain. If it gets some morning sun on it, it's not really an issue. But anything more than that, so after I'd say 11 o'clock. And then also light at different times of the year, because even morning sun in summer will be a lot more intense on this plant than morning sun in winter. So if you're unsure, it's probably best to avoid it. I don't really need the direct sunlight, because again, it comes back to where these plants come from in the natural environment. They'll grow in very shaded locations. And when it comes to plants in general, if you can recreate or give the plant the same type of conditions that it would get in the natural environment, that's perfect. And some people have also asked me if this plant is very high maintenance. And I must actually tell you that no, I haven't really found it to be that high maintenance. But again, I would class myself as a lazy plant person. I wouldn't say that I'm always so on top of things, because you have other things that are happening in your life. You can't always be so tuned to your plants. And so for me, that then means that this plant is actually comparatively low maintenance to some of the other plants that I have. As you can see, I am taking out some healthy fronds as well. Can't be avoided. And then you can also get down and look from underneath. I think it was this one. I know some people that really cut these back kind of like hard, and I don't like to do that because I like, you know, the plant to look nice. Even if the fronds look as if they might be losing leaves, I just cut them off. But yeah, as I'm cutting this plant, I can see that it needs a repot. We're going to have to do a repot of this plant soon, or a repotting, I mean. Also, when it comes to light with these plants, you want to always rotate them so that you get growth on all sides of the plant. So about once a month, I just rotate it, you know, ever so slightly until the plant eventually does a full turn. But what I've actually also found with ferns is that if you can keep them moist, you can actually keep them in quite a small container. And I've seen photographs of ferns, you know, in rock crevices, and they're in a small amount of soil and leaf litter, and they grow, you know, fine. But I have a suspicion that this one is not really coming close to its time for repotting. And the ideal kind of pot that you want to get for a fern like this is something that's shallow and broad, because it spreads. A deep pot won't do this plant any good, because it will probably only grow roots in the kind of top part of the pot, and the rest of the soil won't really get used. And that hinge just opens up the plant again for issues with root rot. And then just going back to the watering thing, you know, if it's summer and you see your plant is pushing out, you know, lots of growth, it needs to be kept moist. You know, it really needs moisture. And so that's why with this plant also, because it's so pot bound, you know, having that moisture every day is almost essential. But if this was a newly repotted plant that still had soil in the pot that the plant had not grown into, and so there would be moisture available in that soil, then the frequency of watering could come, you know, down. It's the same with in the winter months. If you live in a colder climate that has a definite kind of, you know, difference between, you know, summer and winter, then again you can just check the plant before you water the plant. So if it's still moist, then you don't have to water it. That is something that you need to be cognizant of. Is the environment really plays an important role when it comes to watering. Because like with house plants, you don't want a cold plant sitting in moist media, you know, not growing, not using that moisture for hydration, because that is where you get your issues. That's where you get the breakdown of the growing media because of the moisture. So you get the complete removal of any oxygen in the soil that keeps your roots healthy. And then you get the dieback of the roots. And this is why very often an overwatered and an underwatered plant almost looks exactly the same. The only difference is that the overwatered plant has moist media. Because what's not happening is the plant has no roots. So it can't hydrate the foliage. And so the foliage, you know, start to look dehydrated. And that looks the same like a plant that's underwatered. where there is just no moisture, for the roots to take up to the leaves. But an underwatered plant can be revitalized a lot easier than an overwatered plant, because now you've killed off the roots and the plant has to somewhere, if it's possible, regrow the roots. With certain plants, they can't regrow any roots, so yeah, it's just something that you need to consider. Like in this apartment where I'm now, it's an east-facing apartment, so it gets a lot of morning sun, and it's warm. Like right now, because I'm filming, I've closed the balcony door, most of the windows, because I don't want any like sound pollution, and it's warm. I'm feeling a bit hot in there, and so that also then means obviously that if I'm feeling warm, then my plant is also feeling warm, and it's taking up the moisture from the growing media to help to keep the leaves hydrated. A fern that is underwatered will often also have kind of a bluish, like a green bluish kind of shade to the leaves. It'll almost look translucent. Whereas a fern that is well watered will be a nice like green color. And what's nice about this fern though, that's a plus, is that it does give you that warning almost with the translucent blue leaves, and if you see it you'll know, oh, this plant needs to be watered. With other ferns like maidenhair ferns, if it's not watered in one day almost, the leaves just like singe up. I've actually had so many maidenhair ferns die like that, because it was like one day it was still fine, the next day all the leaves go crispy. And that also takes it back to the plant architecture and the fact that, like with maidenhair ferns also, is that they have no water storage capacity, because the leaves are thin, they're like paper thin, the stems of them, there's no way for the plant to store any moisture. So I'm tracing this back to its origin. And I want to take off these runners also. I think this looks good. So I'm going to clean up over here and put this plant back in its position. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. I will see you in the next video. Bye.